And I'm here today to share the quickest and easiest way for you to get what you want most in life. Now notice, I did not say get anything that you want in your life. I said get what you want most in life. To explain what I mean by that, I'd like to share a quick story with you. When I was younger, and I did a lot more live events, there was an amazing exercise that I did with my audiences. I would ask people to raise their hands and share something that they really wanted in their lives right then. So people would raise their hands and they would say things like more money, a better job, a new relationship, a new home, a new car, lose weight, whatever it was. And then we would have a dialogue about it. Now here's a quick example of what those dialogues would look like. I'd ask a woman what she really wanted right now, and she would say, I would like $1 million. And then I would ask her, why do you want $1 million? And she would say something like, so I can quit my job that I hate, travel the world, and live any way that I choose the rest of my life. And then I would ask, why do you want to quit your job, travel the world, and live any way that you choose? And she would say, what do you mean? Confused. I would ask, why do you want those things? She would say, I want that kind of freedom. And so I would ask her, why do you want that kind of freedom? And she would say, again confused, I don't understand what you mean. And I would ask, if you had that kind of freedom, what would it give you? And she would pause to think, and then she would say, I'd be happy. Aha! Boom! Now we get to the truth that's been hidden from view. For most people, it would start like that, with what I call them telling me their surface goal. Again, about money, business, house, car, travel, relationships, body health and wellness, or whatever it was for them. And then if I asked why they want it and what would it give them, and sometimes I'd have to ask that question multiple times, like in the example, but sometimes it would go on much longer. If I asked that question enough times and moved down through enough of what I call the layers of illusion, it always ended up with it being a feeling that they really wanted. And they usually called it happiness, I'd be happy. Sometimes they'd say inner peace or another positive feeling word, but it was always a feeling that they really wanted, hiding underneath whatever the surface goal was that seemed so important. Now I have to tell you, this happened with everyone, thousands of people. I didn't push them, I didn't trick them, I didn't try to manipulate them into saying they wanted a feeling. That's just what happened as a result of these dialogues. Don't believe me. Try the exercise yourself, which I'm going to invite you to do at the end of the video. See, what we all want most deep down, usually hidden from view, is to be happy. And we think we want our surface goals, whatever they are. They seem really important, but that's not what we really want. Not really. We really want to be happy. And somewhere in the mind is the idea, the story, that if we achieve our surface goals, if we get these other things that we want, it'll make us happy. I was like that until my mid-40s, until I had the first in a series of major breakthroughs. How about you? If you see this in yourself, put a Y or a yes in the comments that you do have a belief somewhere. If you can just get these goals that you have, get this stuff on your list of things that you want, then you'd be happy. Put a Y or a yes in the comments. The problem is that if you look at how things really work in life, that almost never happens. Achieving our surface goals rarely makes us happy, or if it does, it's a temporary high that doesn't last. The world is filled with people who achieved every one of their surface goals, or many of them, yet they struggled consistently with depression, loneliness, fear, insecurity, or got into trouble with drugs and alcohol. Here's a high-profile example. Jim Carrey, the famous actor and comedian, who said this. You can see it on your screen. I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of. so they'd know that's not the answer. He said that because that's what happened to him. He grew up poor, and he had a long list of surface goals that he wanted to achieve. And he got every one of the goals on his list and discovered that it didn't make him happy. In fact, he battled depression and other issues despite the huge success and getting everything he ever dreamed of. Jim Carrey's story isn't unusual if you look at the lives of successful people. Consider this. Last year, there was a series of suicides of rich and famous people who appeared to have it all and to be living their dream lives. I went through multiple periods in my life where I achieved big goals, including big financial goals, and was riding high, so to speak, from achieving those goals, but I wasn't happy either. I still felt tortured inside. That's how I felt. Have you experienced this too? Getting something that you really wanted, that you worked long and hard for, only to discover it didn't make you happy like you thought that it would? If you can relate, type IR, I relate, or I relate in the comments, because I'd love to know. When I finally realized the big truth and the significance of what I just shared with you, I reversed how I looked at things. Of course, I still worked to achieve surface goals, like increase my money supply, build my business, work on my relationships and my body, but they became secondary. My number one goal, my highest priority, became finding a way to be happy. In a way I didn't fully understand at the time, I figured if I became happy, the rest would take care of itself. And then achieving my surface goals, whatever they were, would be icing on the cake. Are you with me on that? If you are, if you understand what I just said, type cake in the comments if you're with me. Problem was, I had no idea how to do it, how to be happy. So I began a journey. I first had to discover what happiness really was, what it really meant. Does that sound silly to you? Maybe you're thinking, come on, Robert, everyone knows what happiness is. But the funny thing is, we don't. Can you give me a precise definition of what happiness really is? What it really looks like? What it really means? If you think you can, please share it in the comments. But most people, including me at that time in my life, can't give you a definition. If you ask them what happiness means, they will just stare at you like this. They don't have an answer. The definition of happiness is actually surprisingly elusive. Once I finally got clear on what happiness really was, which took me a long time, I then had to uncover why I wasn't already experiencing it. What were the blocks? What was stopping me? What was in the way of experiencing true happiness, as I now could define it, all the time? Then I had to figure out, once I discovered what the blocks were, how to remove them. Much easier said than done, as it turned out, because when I started my journey into truth with a capital T, as I call it, I quickly discovered nobody seemed to have the answers or the solution about happiness that I was seeking, or what they told me to do didn't work. The techniques, the methods, the practices, they didn't end up making me happy. Meaning, it just didn't work. I searched for answers and a way to experience true happiness for more than 30 years with no luck. But then in my early 50s, I had a major breakthrough that led to me actually experiencing true happiness as opposed to fake happiness that most people seek, which means feeling happy all the time, no matter what was happening in my life or the world, unconditional. After experiencing true happiness for a while, I noticed something interesting and unexpected that happened. My list of surface goals started to change. I didn't plan this, it wasn't a technique, it just happened. My list of surface goals started to change. Many things I always thought I wanted or needed fell off my list, or they changed a little bit. And many things that were never on my list were added to it. Then my life became a truly amazing adventure every day in ways like I never imagined it could be. That is the quickest and easiest way to get what you want most in your life reverse your focus to make being happy your number one goal. At the same time that you're achieving your other goals, make happiness number one. As it turns out, as a result of my discoveries, it's a lot easier to be happy all the time, no matter what's happening, than it is to get all your surface goals and to keep them. I want to close now by inviting you to take 3 steps. Number 1, do the exercise I talked about for yourself with one or more, preferably more, of your current surface goals, and verify for yourself that what I said is accurate and true. You can rewatch the beginning of this video if you want to get the questions and the steps again. Number 2, reverse your focus to make being happy your number one, top priority. And number 3, make the commitment and take action to awaken true happiness in your life.